Natural disasters have been around since the dawn of time, even shaping the face of the Earth as we know it today. But more and more, it seems that natural disasters have become more frequent and more disastrous than we've ever seen. Are we making this up? Did we as humans take a wrong turn somewhere? Let's find out. Hardly a day goes by, it seems, without hearing about another occurrence of a ferocious natural disaster going on in any number of places around the world. Whether it's floods, wildfires, earthquakes, or hurricanes, the frequency of these stories seems to happen more and more often. Does that mean that natural disasters have really increased over the years? Or are we just hearing of more occurrences with increased access to news and social media? According to a study by a UN agency, the WMO, or the World Meteorological Organization, the assumption that these disasters have increased in number and intensity is actually valid. Reports claim that over the past 50 years, weather-related natural disasters have increased 5 times than what it was previously. According to another report from the Ecological Threat Register, in 2020, data showed an increase in disasters from 39 incidents in 1960 to 396 incidents in 2019. The report from the WMO also claimed that over 2 million people have already died due to such factors globally and faced a collective $3.64 trillion worth of damages. Sounds crazy, right? Well, there's more. The WMO released a comprehensive review of these kind of disasters, and you'll be surprised to know how many such disasters have occurred over the years between 1970 to 2019. Shockingly, over 11,000 natural calamities were recorded. And this also includes major catastrophes such as the Haiti earthquake in 2010, which is the largest earthquake Haiti has ever seen, Hurricane Katrina in 2005, which caused over $160 billion worth of damages in one storm alone, and the drought in Ethiopia in 1983, which killed up to 1.2 million people. While we're on the topic, it's important to mention here that 2005 was the year where the world experienced the largest amount of natural calamities ever recorded in history. Don't take our word for it, look at the numbers. In 2005, there were over 442 disaster incidents recorded. Over 90,000 people died solely because of natural disasters and the accidents caused by them, and a staggering 160 million people required immediate assistance as they were either stranded or severely injured. And this is all in a single year. With an increase in rising global temperatures, there is an increase in the likelihood of weather-related natural disasters as well. It appears to be the early 90s were the years when the Earth started experiencing the most natural disasters. And among all types of disasters, flooding has been the biggest issue so far. In fact, between 1990 and 2019, about 42% of natural disasters were flooding alone. Not just that, over 30% of the natural disasters included storms, hurricanes, blizzards, cyclones, tornadoes, and dust storms. This means that floods and storms alone account for 72% of the calamities since the early 90s. According to a study carried out by the Center for Research on the Epidemiology of Disasters, the amount and intensity of storms and floods are rising by 7.4% every single year. It also stated that this increasing trend only began during the 90s. So are natural disasters getting worse? Looking at the stats, yes, they are getting worse with every passing day. From the year 2000 to 2009, the world experienced a 3 times increase in natural disasters compared to the ones between 1980 and 1989. But that's not all. Data from different US government agencies state that 2020 and 2021 saw the most natural disasters and were some of the worst years on record. Over $1 billion went down the drain during these 2 years solely because of natural calamities. The US alone experienced 20 natural disasters in 2021. These included 2 flooding events, 1 drought, 4 tropical cyclones, 11 severe storms, 1 winter storm, and 1 wildfire that spanned multiple states. Some of the costliest natural disasters in 2021 were Hurricane Ida and the Big Freeze in Texas. Hurricane Ida cost up to $75 billion worth of damages. And even now, in the following year, 2022, the city of New Orleans is said to still be recovering from the devastation. In Texas, a 3-day freeze, which saw record low temperatures and snowfall for the state, caused the biggest power failure the state had ever seen. It left 4.5 million homes and businesses without power for multiple days, which led to food and water shortages. If we go back just one more year, 2020 wasn't that great in the sense of natural disasters either. The year 2020 saw record-breaking storms. The costliest insured loss was caused by Hurricane Laura in Louisiana, while California saw its worst year for wildfires in the state's recorded history, burning about 4.3 million acres. That's twice the amount of the previous record for acres burned in any other given year. And not just that, the year ended with record-breaking numbers of tropical cyclones in the US. Apparently in 2020, the US experienced a total of 30 storms, out of which 12 made landfall. When we see trends as shocking as these, we have to ask ourselves why? What could be causing this? The blame is on global warming and the environmental or climate changes. All of the Earth's geophysical condition has changed, and so has the climate. And let's be honest, we as humans are the ones to be blamed for pretty much all of this. Since the 70s, geophysical disasters such as volcano eruptions, earthquakes, and landslides have been pretty steady to date. With urbanization, environmental degradation, and deforestation, the scale of natural disasters has only swelled. Global warming has changed the pattern and intensity of seasons. Many areas in the world are now experiencing extreme and untimely rains and snowfall. And not just that, this has also triggered higher recorded temperatures and brutal windstorms in areas that previously didn't see patterns like this. In 2022, Pakistan saw the hottest March in the country's history, and China had its worst heat wave ever recorded, along with countries such as Ireland, France, Germany, Italy, and many more. The most recent natural disaster that happened due to this global warming was the flooding in Pakistan, which affected tens of millions of people. Now, if we look at the number of tornadoes that hit different areas in the US, in 1990, there was a year-long total of 1,140 tornadoes recorded. Jump to 2019, there were a whopping 1,813 recorded touchdowns. That's a 59% increase. And at the same time, the hotter global temperatures have increased the risk of droughts as well as wetter monsoon seasons and high-intensity storms. Now, there's a really important aspect to all of this destruction that needs to be discussed. While disasters have gotten worse in intensity and frequency, the number of human fatalities has actually decreased, and significantly at that. This is a trend that we've been noticing in the past few years. Despite the growing risks, disasters aren't as deadly as they used to be. The WMO did say that the disasters have increased by 5-fold, but they also stated that deaths caused by such incidents have fallen by 2/3. Looking at it, we can say that's a huge accomplishment, but how did this happen? The simple answer is that the fatalities are now being avoided because of forecasters, architects, policymakers, and even engineers. There isn't one department that can be credited for this accomplishment alone. Along with that, today more world leaders are paying attention to the problem of natural disasters and their rapid increase in frequency. In July 2022, the WMO and the United Nations launched a $1.5 billion program. The program's purpose is to ensure that everyone around the globe can receive an early warning for any upcoming disaster over the next 5 years. In short, it's the advanced early warning system that's helping save people's lives. But we believe the prediction system is highly underrated. Nothing could be better than a downward trend in deaths. During the early 20th century, the average annual deaths caused by natural disasters topped about 1 million. However, by the 70s, the numbers started dropping, and the average was at about 100,000 deaths per year. Now imagine how much the number has fallen now. In the current decade, there were a few years when the death rate went up because of some massive natural disasters, but the decline has been consistent overall. In 2021, the number was down to 10,000 reported deaths due to natural disasters. And while any death is certainly nothing to celebrate, the downward trend in deaths and the amount of saved lives over the centuries is. At the end of the day, we can't ignore the fact that natural disasters are becoming worse, and there's no hope for them to slow down unless we control extreme environmental changes. Even if the fatalities have decreased, the economic loss is still bigger than ever. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.